Uh, Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to all of you for joining this webinar on the development of marine propulsion and future perspectives. We are really very heartened to see such a large participation across a wide spectrum, and we have had almost 300 people who have registered, and I think there's a growing number of people who are still logging in. So hopefully, I think the participation during the actual webinar also will touch this number. Only it gives us a little trepidation because we hope that the bandwidth can handle such a large number. Now, the IMF has been organizing such seminars as an annual event in our past years until 2019. However, last year, as you are aware, we along with the rest of the world were affected due to the COVID lockdowns, and therefore we could not conduct this in 2020. And even this year, though the incidences have reduced of COVID, the restrictions have not been completely lifted. So we decided to conduct this as a webinar, and also for the first time as a joint event with the National Maritime Foundation, with whom we have signed an MOU for sharing of expertise and experience. So firstly, let me say a few words about both these organizations. The Indian Maritime Foundation is a Pune-based non-profit organization which was founded almost 28 years ago by Commodore Rajan Veer, our former president and now the president emeritus, who I think has registered, but I'm not sure if he has logged in. I didn't see his name there. And it is a voluntary organization which is run by a group of retired Indian Navy and Merchant Marine officers. And our main objective is to promote awareness of the oceans and to rekindle maritime consciousness and pride amongst the people of India, especially the youth. The National Maritime Foundation, on the other hand, which is based in New Delhi, is one of India's premier think tanks, which is based in New Delhi, as I mentioned, and the only one in India which is focused entirely on maritime domain. It is the foremost resource center for development of strategies for the preservation, promotion, pursuit, and protection of India's maritime interests. I believe that Admiral Sunil Lamba, the former Chief of Naval Staff and presently the Chairman of the NMF, had registered for this meeting, and I'm sure that he would also be amongst the audience during today's webinar. We are also very honored to have some very eminent participants from the Indian Navy, the Mercantile Marine, and other maritime agencies, both serving and retired, as speakers and moderators for this webinar, and indeed in the audience. We are also delighted to have a very large number of students from various maritime institutes as attendees, many of whom would be taking up a career at sea. As you're all aware, ships have been around for thousands of years and have served many purposes, the two primary ones being defending the nation's maritime interests, which is primarily the job of the Navy, and carrying the nation's sea trade, which is the job of the Merchant Navy or the Mercantile Marine. But irrespective of whichever type of ship they are, from the biggest super tanker to the smallest tug, they all have two basic requirements, which is to float and to move. And for warships, of course, there are two more, which is to fight and to survive. These requirements are also arranged in their order of priority. So obviously, if a ship cannot float, it cannot move, and so on. And the theme of today's webinar focuses on the second requirement, which is to move, for which all ships, big or small, need to have a means of propulsion. Now, this means of propulsion has evolved over the centuries from using raw human strength, which was transmitted to the water through either paddles or oars, to later harnessing the force of nature, that is the wind, using sails, and finally with the coming of the Industrial Revolution, to machine-based propulsion systems, which use different types of fuels. So this webinar will not only cover all three phases of this development, that is the past, present, and future, but also consider the impact of modern day propulsion systems on the environment and how we can make these systems and fuels not only efficient, but also environment friendly. Before we commence the seminar itself, a few points which are there on the screen. Firstly, the audio and video of all the attendees will be muted on commencement. However, I will give the various speakers and moderators, co-host rights during the talk and session that they are participating in, so that they can unmute themselves, and if required, they can share their screen. During the question and answer session, which will typically follow each of the sessions, the attendees too will be given rights to unmute themselves. And in this case, if you have to ask a question, either raise your hand, which can be found under the reactions control, which is there in your toolbar at the bottom, or type it into the chat screen. The moderator will thereafter control the sequence of the question and answer. And other than the person asking the questions, I would request that the others remain muted and not show themselves on the screen at this time. At the end of the session, the participants will be presented mementos. We planned this by the president, but since he was not keeping well, it will be today done by the vice president, IMF. And at the end of the webinar, I plan to have a small online poll. And after the webinar ends itself, we will have a survey which will be distributed to all those who have attended today's session. While Pune's power supply is generally stable, we always have the odd power outage or sometimes a connectivity breakdown. And in case this happens to me, then the meeting itself should be able to continue without a break. I will request at that time Commodore Chitnis, who is a co-host, to take over. The host, that is me, will try and join as early as possible from a secondary device, that is probably my laptop. Also, if we have increasing number of attendees, which may go up to almost 300, as I mentioned before, we may experience a little lag. So I request the speakers and the moderators to just note this. And in case they are showing a presentation, you may have to adjust your presentation accordingly. A few ground rules before we commence. Firstly, request the attendees in particular not to unmute their audio and video when the speakers are presenting. And during sessions, avoid using the chat for making some general comments or just putting some emojis. Use the chat mainly for the Q&A, so that the moderators can see the relevant questions and thereafter direct it towards the speakers who will be able to answer those questions. And if you do have to make comments, of course, we will welcome all comments, but please keep them for the end of the sessions or the webinar itself. Program, I think all of you are generally aware, but I'll just flash this on. After this, we would have the welcome address, which will be now delivered by the Vice President of the IMF. And thereafter will be followed by the keynote address before we get into session 1. And there will be 2 sessions before lunch. Then we'll have a small, about 1 hour break for lunch. And that will be followed by session 3. And then finally the concluding remarks and the vote of thanks. So with that, may I request Commodore Chitnis, Shaurya Chakra, Nausena Medal, Indian Navy retired, Vice President IMF, to please deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Admiral Nadkarni, and welcome everyone. At the outset, let me wish Captain Anand Dixit a very speedy recovery, because he's come down with fever suddenly, and I hope the fever subsidizes as suddenly as it came, and he can join us if he is feeling better. Distinguished guests, participants, students and faculty members of various maritime institutes who have joined us, members of the National Maritime Foundation, the Indian Maritime Foundation, the Navy Foundation, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the joint IMF-NMF webinar on developments of marine propulsion and future perspectives. On behalf of the IMF and NMF, I extend a special welcome to our eminent speakers and moderators. We have so many familiar faces here, and there are a lot of friendly faces. I hope the friendly faces become familiar and the familiar faces keep remaining friendly at the end of the seminar. We are grateful to all of them for sparing their valuable time to participate in this event. This webinar is about the past, present, and future of marine propulsion. History of development of marine propulsion is as old as the history of mankind. It is believed that the first boat on the earth was built about 2 million years ago by the prehistoric Homo erectus, even before we, the Homo sapiens, came on the scene. I am going to cover only a more recent past, going back about 2,000 years. At the beginning of the Christian era, boats in different parts of the world were using sails and oars quite efficiently as a means of propulsion, often in tandem, as a Viking and a Chola ships did. They were able to travel great distances with this basic form of propulsion. The modern sailing ships, as we know them, were constructed from the 15th to the 18th century in Europe and America. They were square-rigged ships with 2 or 3 masts able to withstand rough seas and could sail to any part of the world. The 18th century saw a tentative entry of steamships into the shipping world, but it was only in the first half of the 19th century that the steamships were operated successfully. These early ships were paddle steamers, which sailed as backup. Changeover from paddle wheels to screw propeller and a reciprocating steam engine was the next step. The Industrial Revolution in Europe and United States between 1760 and 1840 saw rapid development and refinement of steam engines and boilers. The introduction of the turbines helped to improve performance in the early steam engine. It is interesting to note that initially the ship owners were reluctant to change over from sails to steam engine because the engine and the coal fuel took up valuable space at the expense of cargo. The size of the engine itself was disproportionate to the size of the ship. The obvious answer was to increase the size of the ship. The extra cost involved was well compensated by the increased cargo capacity and passenger capacity. While these developments were taking place, sailing ships were able to still hold on to their own. Ships of the clipper class were easily able to outrun the steamships of those days under full sail. The famous clipper Cutty Sark was able to log an astonishing speed of over 17 knots on many occasions. The 20th century saw the most rapid development of marine propulsion as in every other field, largely due to the 2 world wars. The important change was in the switch from coal to oil as the fuel for main engines. It must be remembered that the propelling machinery alone could not have achieved the progress we see today. Continuous improvements in the design of hull, the propeller and rudder, as well as various auxiliary machineries, all contributed to this development. Our eminent speakers today will tell us more about this long journey of marine propulsion and what lies ahead in the future. We certainly have an interesting day ahead of us. Thank you and welcome once again. Thank you, Admiral Natkani. It's back to you.